Good morning, I'm Mariel Flores, and discovering the self and the sexual self. Is there a link between sexual concept and sexual satisfaction? A scale measuring the idea is described, and it's urged that sexual concept is the significance predictor of teenage use of contraceptives. Sexual self-concept is defined as an individual's assessment of his or her own sexual feelings and behavior. It's simply defined, sexual satisfaction is how you feel about your sexual life after taking into account both the positive and negative aspect of it, depending on whatever aspect of sexuality are most significant to each individual. Different persons in the general public may experience different levels of sexual satisfaction. Sex is a crucial aspect of what makes a people human. But sex is much more than just the urge to reproduce. But sex is also about experiencing pleasure, joy, excitement, and even ecstasy. The joy of touching and being touched by another warm body. The escalating excitement toward sexual release, the ultimate coming out during the sexual climax, and the sharp pain relaxing afterglow of the relaxing feeling after orgasms are all added to this natural delight of the flesh. Human sexuality benefits both the soul and the mind. Sex brings happiness, love, comfort, affection, and occasionally fulfillment. Ecstasy, whose origin is ecstasis, is a combination of physical, psychological, and spiritual experience. Sex not only connects a hot person with another person, but it also with their own selves and humanity. Psychological side effects of sex include falling in love, obsession, desertion, rejection, madness, loss of self, fear of destruction, and the frantic craziness of pleasure. One impulsive, passionate sexual experience has the power to drastically alter one's life for better or worse. The development of connection and self-concept includes a sexual self, and the secondary sex characteristic in comparison to boys girls often start to display physical changes at puberty between the age of 9 and 13, which is a little earlier. The body change are brought up by the female sex hormone, estrogen, and other hormones. The following stage are those that females go through. While some girls reach their full development at age of 16, others don't until they reach at the age of 18. Stage 1 from age 8 to 12, non-noticeable sign of physical development all through the ovaries are enlarged and hormone production is starting. Stage 2 may begin anywhere from age 8 to 14. Height and weight increase rapidly. Fine hair growth begins close to the pubic area and underarm. Breast buds appear. Nipple become raised and tender. Sweat and oil glands become active, which may result to ink. Stage 3 may start anywhere from age 9 to 15. Breasts may become rounder and fuller. Hips may start to widen in relation to the breast, and vagina begins secreting a clear and whitish fluid. Pubic hair becomes fuller, thicker, and curlier. Height and weight continue to increase. For some girls, ovulation and menstruation irregular. And stage 4 may begin anywhere from age 10 to 16. Underarm hair becomes darker. Pubic hair starts to form a triangular patch in front and side of the genital area. The nipple and the dark area around the breast called areola may stick out from the rest of the breast. From the girl's ovulation and menstruation period begins, but may be irregular. Stage 5 may start anywhere from age 12 to 19. Adult height is already reached. Breast development is complete. Pubic hair forms a thick, curly, triangular patch. Ovulation and menstrual periods occur regularly. Overall look is that of a young adult woman. Boys typically start to develop physical throughout puberty between the age of 11 and 14. which is a little later than for girls. The puberty change are brought on by the other hormones and the female hormones testosterone. The events take place in the stage listed below. Voice stage 1 between age 8 to 12. No visible sign of physical development but hormones production is starting. Stage 2 may begin anywhere from age 11 to 13. Height and weight increase rapidly. Testicles become larger and scrotum hangs lower. Scrotum becomes darker in color. Fine hair growth starts at the base of the penis. Hair growth may begin on the legs and underarms. And stage 3 may start anywhere from age 12 to 14. The penis, scrotum, and testicle grow. Pubic hair becomes darker, thicker, and curlier. Muscle becomes larger and shoulder becomes broader. Sweat and oil glands become more active, which may result in ink. Sperm production may begin. Temporary swelling and tenderness may occur around the nipples. Height and weight continue to increase. Hair growth on the legs and underarms continue. And stage 4 may begin anywhere from age 13 to 16. Sperm production has begun. The Adam's apple increase in size. Vocal cords become longer and thicker. And the voice begins to crack or break. Then becomes low. Height and weight continue to increase. Penis and testicles continue to grow. Pubic hair increase in amount and become darker, coarser, and curlier. Stage 5 may begin anywhere from age 14 to 18. Growth of facial hair begins. Chest hair growth begins. Adult height is reached. Penis and testicles have reached adult size. Pubic, underarm, and leg hairs are adult color, texture, and distribution. Overall look is that of a young adult man. Sexual maturation. Sexual maturity starts when secondary sex traits emerge. Males can engage in sexual activity regardless of biological cycle since androgens don't really develop secondary sex characteristics. They are constant. The two ovaries in females begin producing the hormones progesterone and estrogen when they enter puberty. The most output of these two hormones occur during ovulation, when a mature is released from the ovary of the fallopian tube, with the chance of being fertilized by the sperm. However, these two hormones are not consistently produced, unlike the males, because they follow clinical patterns. Human reproduction, testes from the males and ovaries from the females, make up the gonads, the cells that make up human reproduction. In addition to the female ovary, which houses ova, the testes also contain spermatozoa. When a sexual act is performed, sperm from the male testes enter the fallopian tube and penetrate an egg cell or an ovum that is mature. When an egg is fertilized during ovulation, it travels through the fallopian tube to the uterus. In the course of menstruation, one mature egg cell is expelled from the ovary and enters the fallopian tube. The erogenous zone, body portion known as energy center, are highly sensitive to touch, pleasure. Primary sensitive spot and secondary sexual zones are possible. The term primary erogenous zone refers to the areas with dense concentration of nerves ending. Primary erogenous zones include the private parts, hips, abdomen, nipples, inner thighs, armpits, waist, neck, ears, lips, tongue, and complete oral canals. All other parts of the body are considered secondary erogenous zones. For instance, if a partner's upper back is gently kissed and caressed during sexual interaction, that area may become an erogenous zone since it is being touched in a private and intimate way. Understanding of human sexuality. Human sexuality has been defined as the manner in which individuals have experienced and exhibit their sexuality in ways that are consistent with the expectation of a given society. Researchers in anthropology, biology, medicine, sociology, and psychology who specialize in the study of human sexuality attest that human sexuality reflects biological capacities, psychological traits, and social and cultural variances. As previously mentioned, social expectation, attitudes, belief, and biological knowledge all have an impact on sex and behavior related to it. The current generation is aware of the variety of sexual activity. What was deemed strange, abnormal, or vulgar and probably now accepted. Similar to this, other people in that society could look down on sexual activity that has widespread there. Overall, it might be difficult to distinguish between abnormal and typical sexual activity. One can look at the activities that are prevalent and uncommon in particular population to discover the boundary that separates deviant sexual activity from normal behavior.
Good afternoon everyone, I am Ina Marie Isabella, and for today's report I will tell you what is basic sexual behavior. When we say basic sexual behavior, is that sexuality can be expressed in way other than sexual intercourse, or pwede na mo din itong express through physical contact. When we say physical contact, means person to person, touching on the use of a device or touching another person. Masturbation ay isang sexual na kasiyahan sa mga sarili ng mga lalaki at babae. Ito ay karaniwang nagsisimula mag-masturbate sa unang pagkakataon sa iba't ibang edad mula sa 5 taon hanggang 21 years old, or tinatawag din itong touch yourself for sexual pleasure. Heterosexuality. When we say heterosexuality, ito naman yung sexually or romantically attracted to men if you are a woman, and woman if you are a man. Premarital sex. When we say premarital sex, is a sexual activity which is practiced by people before they are married. And premarital sex ay kinukonsider din na malaking kasalanan ng ibang relihiyon. Marital sex, sex in marriage, is the most standard and acceptable sexual behavior, and in general, the usage of wedded bliss, or tinatawag din natin na, ito naman yung sex na tinatawag na katanggap-tanggap na sa kasal. Extramarital sex. Extramarital sex is a practice between a married person and someone who is not her spouse or asawa, ganon. Ito naman yung single person is having sex with a married person, or mas tinatawag natin siyang kabit. Homosexual and bisexuality. When we say homosexual, are individual who are secretly attracted to members of their own sex or kapares nilang kasarian. And when we say naman na bisexual, ito naman yung lalaki na babae kumilos ay tinatawag na bakla, at yung mga babae na lalaki kumilos ay tinatawag din namang tomboy. Transsexual. When we say transsexual, ito naman yung mga lalaki na nagpaparitoke para maging babae, or she or might take pills para magbago ang katawan nila sa gusto nilang gender. Transsexualism. When we say transsexualism, is a part of a wider category known as a transgenderism. This term pertains not only transsexual but also people who are see themselves as the third gender, or nakikita nila yung sarili nila na iba pa. Transvestites. Those who wear clothes of other gender, or some of them believe that traditional male-female classification who wrongly characterize themselves, or yung sinasabi nila na lalaki sila pero yung katawan nila ay pambabae, na kaya sila nagsusuot ng ganon dahil alam nila na babae sila. Asexuality. Ito naman yung mga uri ng oryentasyon sexual kung saan ang isang tao ay hindi nahuhumaling sa kapwa lalaki or babae. Androgen. Ito naman yung mga literal na nangangahulugan na tumutukoy sa pagkakaroon ng parehong panlalaki at pambabae na katangian. Example dito ay gays. Babae sila kumilos, pero lalaki sila. Sexual problem. Before, sexual problem and other matter related to sex never come out into the open. Society and culture still uphold the high level of moral values because of the importance society places on disabled sexual conduct. Sexual activity is any dimension, either it is solitary sex, marital sex, heterosexual, homosexual, bisexual, or transsexual, are all geared toward satisfaction and fulfillment by people involved. Erectile dysfunction. When we say erectile dysfunction, is a rare case of a male who has never experienced electron, or ito yung mga tao na it is the ability to get and maintain electron that is sufficient for satisfaction. Hindi premature ejaculation. Here, the male is not able to hold his organ longer than he wished, and because his wish is to delay the organ depends on his partner, attitude, and option to how long should the organs be. Ito naman yun is a man where comes too quick during sexual intercourse nila. Inhabited ejaculation. This problem, the man is not able to ejaculate when he want to. Inhabited sexual desire. This happens when sexual act has no motivation or it is restricted when people with sexual inhabitation has no sexual feeling would be turned off sexual that they must have some kind of sexual amnesia. Yung hindi ka interesado when it's come to sex. Sexually transmitted infection. With the advent of sexual modernity and with the various of sexual relationship and intimacy comes sexually transmitted disease. This problem result from the sexual adventures. Ito naman yung parang AIDS are infected that are passed from one person to another person through sexually contact. Chlamydia is the most wider space infection that usually women who have this do not show symptoms. Ito naman ay sakit na para ding AIDS or HIV na nakukuha sa pakikipag-sex or sexual contact. Gonorrhea. This infection has no symptoms but can cause burning sensation when urinating and discharging of the penis or vagina. Syphilis. This first shows itself in a small wound at the point of sexual contact. It's a sexually transmitted infection or STI that can cause serious health problem without treatment. AIDS. This past few decades, there is no sexually transmitted infection disease that has most sexual impact on several behavior and the whole society that these acquired immune deficiency syndromes or AIDS are caused. The immunodeficiency virus or HIV, which destroy body, immune system, semen, and blood are the vehicle or transmission. Methods of contraceptives. Natural methods. The natural method term fertility awareness pertain the methods of planning and stopping pregnancy. Ito naman yung chine-check niya through calendar kung kailan siya fertile or hindi. The rhythm or calendar method. Ito naman is a fertility tracing method by using a calendar. The woman has to note her ovulation period or menstruation cycle. The surgical mucus method. This method has to rely on the familiarity of the basal body temperature. This method make use of special type of thermometer. To read change of temperature, the woman has to record her temperature daily before getting up or doing anything in the morning. Abstinence is preventing pregnancy by not having sexual contact or any other sexual activity. Douche is done by washing the sperm and semen deposited in the vagina with medical solution thus just after the sexual contact. Withdrawal. This is the withdrawal of the penis from the vagina. Prolonged lactation or lactational amenorrhea or LAM. LAM is considered as natural contraceptive that protects the woman from pregnancy, particularly.
The next one is the morning after pill. The morning after pill is an emergency birth control which prevents a woman from pregnancy even after unprotected sex act. The next one is implants. Implants are matchstick-sized rubber silicone rods, capsule or tubes containing progesterone. A physician surgically implant this silicone under the skin, generally at the upper arm. Surgical method or sterilization. This method can stop the sperms and egg cell from meeting in the fallopian tube by cutting or tying the fallopian tube through a hospital or clinic operation. The next one is the vasectomy. Vasectomy for male sterilization is done by cutting or searing the two deferens, the tube carrying the sperms from testes to the penis, to stop the sperms from mixing the seminal fluids. Male condom or prophylactic latex. The condom is synthetic or artificial sheet worn over penis before sexual act to prevent the sperm from entering the uterus. The next one is the diaphragm or the cervical cap. This cap is a thin rubber bowl shaped disc with flexible rim that fits on the top of the vagina to cover the cervix and prevent the sperm from its entrance to the vagina and reaching the egg inside. The last one is the sponge. Sponge is a soft donut-shaped device of spongy material that has spermicide. Love and attachment. What is love? After the discussion on sexuality, it would be fitting to look back and find out the prelude to that sexuality, the love. One characteristic of man that show his being a person in his capacity to love like man's rationality, freedom, and responsibility. His power to love have added to his being a person. Love is exceedingly difficult to define. Although many have tried, researchers try to be more comfortable measuring the idea of attachment, intimacy, companionship, and infatuation, which are related and always treated as a measure of love. Some study in physical science says that there is a level of oxytocin and serotonin in romantic couple. So, what is really love? Love is patient. Love is kind. It is not envy or dishonor others. It is not self-seeking. It is not easily angered. It keeps no record of wrong. Love does not delight in evil but rejoice in the truth. It always trusts, it always hopes, and always perceives. Functions of dating. Dating is a recent phenomenon. Although some years back dating was already reality with its primary role is to choose and win a mate. However, dating same year ago was practically monitored by parents who carefully controlled any heterosexual companionship. Usually, parents would bargain with one another about the importance of their adolescent children as potential marriage partner and even would choose mates for their children. In this generation, adolescents have gained more leeway over their dating process and whom they can go out with. Dating today has evolved to some function which is not only for mate selection. Dating can be form of recreation. Adolescents who date seem to have fun and see dating as some source of enjoyment and recreation. Dating is a source of status and achievement. Dating is a part of socialization process. Dating involves learning about intimacy and serve as a chance to establish a unique, meaningful relationship with a person of the opposite sex. Dating can be an opportunity of sexual experimentation and exploration. Dating can provide a chance for companionship through interaction and shared activities in an opposite sex relationship. And dating experiences contribute to identity formation and development. Dating can be a mate sorting and selection, thereby retaining its original courtship function. Kung natukoy na natin ang pagmamahal kanina ay ngayon naman ay malalaman natin kung ano yung types of love. Types of love. After dating, one is now already for love. Love takes varied forms. There is some love between parents and children. There is a love between friends called philia, in a ancient Greek word which refers to a concern for the welfare of others. There are two types of love: the passionate love and companionate love. The first one is the passionate love. This is usually known as a romantic love. It is the intense longing for union with one another. Passionate lovers are absorbed with one another, showing their feelings or ecstatic tenderness and elation of attaining their partner's love and disconsolate on losing it. Love show generalized psychology arousal like increased heartbeat, blushing, perspiration, and feeling of intense excitement. The next one is the companionate love. Companionate love or compassionate love is a lesser intense feeling compared to the passionate love. It is characterized by a friendly affection and deep, caring attachment based on the familiarity of the loved ones. According to Mayer, companionate love is the affection of a person feel for those with whom their lives are intertwined. In companionate love, there is a tolerance for the partner's shortcomings along the desires to overcome conflicts and differences. We have here that Stenberg's triangular theory of love. Nakapaloob dito ang intimacy, the passion, and the commitment. The first stage is the intimacy. Dito pumapasok yung liking stage. Ang susunod na stage is the passion. Dito pumapasok si infatuation love at yung mga kagaya ng romantic feelings. And the last one is the decision, or we can say the commitment. Pag sinabi nating commitment or decision, dito na pumapasok yung struggle ng pagdedesisyon natin about sa pag-ibig. Kasi kung mahal mo, ipaglalaban mo, decision mo yun at seryosong decision yun. Para mas lalong maintindihan yung tatlong stage of this triangle ay narito ang definition of the intimacy, the passion, and the commitment. The intimacy, passion, and commitment. The first one is the passion. Passion is the motivational component that ignite the romantic feelings, physical attraction, desires for sexual interaction. The second one is the intimacy. It's the emotional component of love that compasses the sense of bonding with the person. The last one is the commitment. This is the cognitive component of love. It pertains the conscious decision to love someone and remain in a relationship for long in spite of the difficulty entails. Why do people fall in love? Dahil nga naka-video recording tayo ay hindi ko siya matanong sa inyo ngayon sa mismong reporting namin. So, siguro alam naman siguro ng mga na-in love dyan kung bakit sila na-in love. And I have here some factors why do people fall in love. The first one is people fall in love to overcome loneliness, and separateness. Siyempre, nai-inlove tayo para mapawi yung lungkot, no? The second one is the people desire form a union is the deepest need of a human person. The third one is people when they are in their own solitariness long for a refuge of in union and in love. Love relationship is an aspect of a person's social network instead of a cure one's loneliness. People fall in love most often has no clear explanation why she or he fell with this particular person and not the other one. No, maraming nakaka-relate dito sa dito sa factors bakit nai-inlove yung tao. Lalong-lalo na yung huli. Hindi natin masasabi kung bakit tayo na-inlove sa isang tao, and I also experienced that na na-inlove na lang ako, hindi ko alam kung bakit. Wala siyang reason. There are some factors that can shed light on this topic. The proximity, similarity, reciprocity, and the attractiveness. The first one is the proximity. This is the geographical nearness of one person to another, which is more important variable in interpersonal attraction. The second one is the similarity. Similarity likewise is determining who one feels in love with. It is the contrast to the old saying, opposite poles attract because people often like those who they have the same liking, beliefs, attitude, interests, and intellectual abilities. The third one is the reciprocity. This is an idea that particular person has a perception that individual is interested with him or her. The last one is the physical attractiveness. Physical beauty plays is an important role in drawing people together. Physical attractive people are sought after as a friends or lovers. Physical beauty is perceived as more interesting, poised, sexy, happy, competent, and socially skilled. Height is an added component influencing an attraction, particularly to women who are equally attracted to taller men. Aesthetic people really to admire anything beautiful. Beautiful individuals have more something to offer in terms in their enticing personal qualities. People are attracted to beautiful individuals because they are offered status by association. Beautiful people by luck, having been treated well throughout their lives, feel secured and comfortable with themselves, so they find satisfying relationship with others. So, yung physical attractiveness may magandang benefits. Siyempre, kung maganda ka or gwapo ka, ititreat ka ng ibang tao ng maganda. And medyo unfair lang dun sa iba na hindi nila nafe-feel na maganda sila or gwapo sila.
Love attachment. According to Crocs, attachments means an intense, both that develop between two individuals, either between infant and the parent, or between adults and lovers. According to Freud, infant becomes attached to the one who provides neural satisfaction. According to Erikson, physical comfort and sensitive care are keys to the establishment of trust and mistrust. Common misconception about love and sex. Why misconception? Love is sometimes due to acute sex. Sex is considered obsessed and vulgar, therefore there is secrecy. Secrecy leads to ignorance and misinformation. Love means, first meet, love is blind. As a people fall in love, the brain constantly releases a certain set of chemicals similar to amphetamines. So dito, minamahal natin yung tao kung sino ba siya talaga at kung ano ba talaga siya. Hindi natin tinitingnan yung mga panlabas na anyo, kundi yung ugali ang tinitingnan natin. Second mean, jealously proves love. When you're jealous, you're afraid to being replaced by another person in heart, mind, life of someone you find important. Third mean, real love means I can live without you. Real love relationship should characterize mutual equality, based independent unions, not addictive co-independent or infantile dependency based on relationship. Fourth mean, love at first sight. Mutual attraction helps people go physiologically towards each other and want to help going toward to each other. Fifth mean, love equals sex. The emphasis on romantic love exclude other forms of love such as friendship, self-love, and altruistic love, connecting sex as one of way of showing enetic love. First mean, everyone is having sex, and so really it's big deal. Based on a survey by the National Statistical Coordination Board in 2013, 32% of 7 million Filipino adolescents aged 15-24 have already engaged in premarital sex. Second mean, oral sex is not a sex. Many people think that oral sex is really sex. Generally, activities like kissing, touching, rubbing, and stroking are not really defined as sex. Third mean, sex is always wonderful and pleasurable experience. Making the right decision about sex is more important than every not only to protect you from negative and experience an unwanted pregnancy. Fourth mean, some people can become closer and find love through sex. It is very important to remember that physically intimacy does not have to equal sex. Partners may cuddle, kiss as from intimacy if they comfortable doing so. Fifth mean, period sex is safe sex. When periods are regular and ovulation, the release of the egg, the most fertile time of her cycle, is predictable. It can be reasonably assumed that the woman cannot pregnant at this time. Sperm can survive the vagina 4 to 7 days and egg can survive for 3. If she has irregular periods and evaluates closer to her period, the egg and sperm transit times get crossed in normal 28-day cycle. Evaluation occurs 2 weeks before the next period. 6 mean, it's the girl responsibility not to get pregnant. That the girl responsibility for safer sex and planning the pregnancy. It is the both partners' responsibility to ensure that you have safer sex to prevent both unplanned pregnancy and sexually transmitted infection. 7 out of Filipinos mothers are adolescents, age 19 years old below. 7 mean, having sex will help to keep someone in a relationship. That if relationship is not working without sex, it won't work with it. 8 mean, blending at first intercourse in the surest sign of virginity. It ruptures at first intercourse, causing slight blending at minimal pain.
The girl's responsibility not to get pregnant. That's the girl's responsibility for safer sex and planning to pregnancy. It is always both partner responsibility to ensure that you have a safer sex. Almost everyone probably thinks the way, but thinks that it is always the woman who is responsible for not getting pregnant because they both want it first. So that means the partner himself is responsible, not just the woman. It also up to the man because he will the one to control if he gets pregnant or not. Having sex will have to keep someone in relationship. That if a relationship is not working without sex, it won't work with it. Sex in a monogamous relationship increases your level of commitment and emotional connection with the other person. Expressing love through sex increases the likelihood of couples staying together. Bleeding at first intercourse is not sure sign of virginity. It's ruptures at first intercourse causing slight bleeding in minimal pain. No, not always. Some women will bleed after having sex for the first time, while others will not. Both are perfectly normal. A woman will bleed when she has a penetrative sex for the first time because of her hymen stretching or tearing. Hymen is a piece of tissue covering or surrounding part of your vaginal opening. A person using public toilet gets sexually transmitted disease. STDs or HIV are not transmitted through toilet seats. Most people who get HIV get in through an anal or vaginal sex or sharing needles, syringes, or other drug injection equipment. You can lose your virginity by having a pap smear. The only way to lose your virginity is to have a sexual experience, not by having a pap smear. What is pap smear? It is a simple and painless test for cervical cancer. It is recommended that girls have a pap smear every 2 years when they start becoming sexual active.